What's going on, brother?
Not much. Happy New Year, bro.
Happy New Year again, man. We rolling and rocking. No shit.
Hell yeah, 2023.
2023 is here. It's dark. Doesn't it seem like it's like really fucking dark?
Oh yeah, short days. I don't know when the what is it? The winter solstice and the summer solstice. Longest and shortest days. But I think the winter solstice is already hit, so that should start be getting longer again. But
I heard
it's gonna be drear for a bit.
Yeah, I heard that they're not doing the was it daylight savings thing anymore?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think how they spring forward and spring backwards.
Yeah.
Apparently they're not doing that anymore. But
I remember back in the day having to change the clocks and stuff, but the phones just do it automatically, The
phones do. Yeah, and then your alarm clock don't, and then you don't wake up for work in the morning. Freaking, it's kind of weird though, because it's the mornings are so dark, and I wake up early in the morning for work, but it should be daylight saving, so shouldn't it be a little bit lighter when you wake up in the morning? It's still dark for an hour, till
what
7.
Is it? When you get the daylight saving, do they turn it forwards an hour or backwards?
I don't know, man. I'm confused. I just know that they fall back, so when it hits the fall, you go backwards, and when it hits the spring, you spring forwards.
Yeah. I want to say with the shorter days, no, it'd be forwards, right? Because you'd want to be getting up earlier.
Yeah.
Having the day finish shorter, so that
they
get
still
that
have a lot more sunlight.
Yeah. Extra hour of sunlight.
Yeah, and then the fall back one is okay, well, it's gonna get darker earlier. I don't know. It makes no flipping sense to me, but it is what it is. It's just a confusion. It's just dark. It's so dark. It's dark in the morning and it's dark by 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Well, for mental stability, and emotional regulation, vitamin D is an important factor.
Gotta have that
and
vitamin
with those shorter days, especially in the cold temps when you're not getting outside and stuff too.
Yeah.
That's why seasonal depression's a real thing,
Seasonal depression is a real thing. I mean, well, I don't know. Maybe I should hold off my opinions on depression. But I mean, I don't know. I don't want to be so scary because it's always gonna come down.
It's not scary, bro. You're fine. Go for it.
Nah. It's always gonna. It always boils down to shit. I see shit. You see you snoring over there, buddy. I see shit. Right. We see a problem, and you see it's more It's very thin. It's very thin, filled with substance, and you boil it down to its viscosity. It's how you make gravy or something,
Yeah,
you just boil out the water and it gets thicker, But when it's all boiled down, it always comes down to the same two things: it's evil and the devil, So talking about depression, maybe depression I would feel again like a demon, like a spirit is a spirit, is an evil, what's the word? Disease, right? Disease, and there's dis-ease, right? You're not at ease. Mm-hmm. So with depression, you're not at ease mentally. Your mind is great. Either your mind is going wicked. And I know there's different things. You feel so low, you can't get out of bed, you can't eat. People say, "Oh yeah, depression can kill." I believe
very true factor.
Yes.
Depression and stress are very, very real killers out there.
Very real, very real. But there's also a lot of different. There's a lot of different ways to go about solving a situation, and there's a lot of different ways to go about living life without categorizing something as something it's depression, it's clinical. Oh, I have no way around it. I have to take medication for it. I was born this way. You're just stamping. You're sealing your fate.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there are some people definitely that do need the medications. I'll stand behind that, but I do stand against complete westernized medicine, where it is literally medications and having faith in somebody else to solve your problem. You know, I don't know why they don't open the doors to working hand in hand with like Eastern methodologies, you know, and like giving recommendations of like meditation and exercise and, you know, spiritual practicing and stuff, because all of those things make a difference.
That is exactly what I'm saying. That's why I'm like, oh, you might think, oh, well, I'm not you, of course. But if anyone watches think, oh, he's an asshole because he doesn't believe in depression. Nah, I just believe that there's other ways to go about life to solve your problems, right? Because now I'm only speaking from experience because I was a young child. I was a teenager too. I was this chick don't like me. I'm depressed. No one likes me. Boo hoo me. I was sitting there in depression like some freaking waste. You're a waste, man. I mean, well, I'm not trying to be mean. I gotta be sympathetic, all right?
Yeah.
But it's just like, yo, grow a pair of balls, get into the gym, all right? Read a book, right? Work on yourself, because when you work on yourself and you solve your situation, you solve your problems for yourself, then guess what? You get everything else after that. You solved your problems, right? You did it on your own. You have that. It's not more like pridefulness, but you have that. You could stamp that. I solved my own problems. I don't need no therapist. You know, I could talk to my friends. You know, I'm not depressed. I'm just fat. You know, it's like there's simple situations. It's like, oh, well, why? You got to go to the reason. Why are you depressed? Okay. No, some people aren't like, everyone is not like me, all right? I'm a harsh judge on myself because I'm able to look at myself in the mirror and see if I'm a piece of shit or if I'm a good quality person right now, you know, for my own self, and then when you're good for yourself, then you can do good for others. But you can't do good for yourself if you're not able to judge yourself critically.
Yeah, well, I mean, don't be too critical at the same stage. And like a big barrier for a lot of people too, like, because what you're talking about right now is solution-based thinking as opposed to problem thinking. You know, when it comes into the concept of, you know, if you don't like what you're getting, then you got to stop doing what you're doing, you know? Because if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you're getting, you know?
Well, what's that saying where it's like, what's the what equals what was it? It's like what is the definition of insanity?
Right?
Right?
The definition of insanity is when you do the same thing over and over
Think
again
you might get
and
another
expect a different result.
Yeah, right. That's what you're saying though, yeah. Yeah, so it's like when you see that, it was like, okay, and it sucks because like I do feel for people because it's like I understand that there are mental barriers. And where I'm comparing these diseases as a thing towards like a demon is because it's something that's inflicting this onto you. You know, it's not of your. It's not even. It's not natural. I don't think it's not natural to be burdened with such forces of emotions that will put you in bed, you know, all day to make you stop eating. You know, it's more of, I always see it's like a parasite. And demons are parasites. You know, like they feed off of your energy. So that's exactly why I would compare these diseases to a malignant force.
Yep.
It's a malignant force, and I figure like evil is what evil is, and evil is about destruction. Put a disease on you. Put a disease on you. Make you sick. Make your mind sick. Make your heart sick. You know, that's like, it's kind of how it feels. It's like you just put a little parasite on your back and make you think, oh, you're nothing. You're fat. You're lazy. You're never amount to nothing. You know, put all of those fucking wicked ass thoughts in the back of your head, and you're sitting here like, why am I thinking this? A little parasite that you got on.
Yeah, it's definitely like an injustice too. I was actually watching a video just last night, and it was like funny that it's like stumbling straight into this because you Yeah, it was saying that the human body was never designed to be sick, never designed to have these inflictions, and it's definitely like external forces and, you know, like a manipulation of media and other forms like that create this. Because, you know, when you're out, you're doing good, you know, and you're in spiritual balance, you find that like things like the common cold don't even affect you or anything like that. You know, and like this society and like the expectations and like, I don't know, like one book that I read one time, they call them like rules and stuff. But you know, it's like rules that you set in your own life that you never chose. They're like other people's expectations on how you should live that you adopt into your own sort of philosophies, whether you agree with them or not.
Yeah.
Usually as a child too, you know. Not
because it happens young.
Mm-hmm. And so, like, these are the things that kind of tear you down spiritually and make you susceptible to, like, things like depression and getting sick. Because it's like, you look at the animal kingdom. All across the animal kingdom, like, the only time there's any sort of, like, depression or sickness involved is once you have, like, the domestication of animals. Yeah. You know, once we put our philosophies and our ways of living.
Yeah, and we fuck around with their genome.
Exactly, man.
Then they got sick. So, that's funny because, again, I was like, yo, I was telling you just on the side, like, yo, I don't want to talk so much because I'm always scary. Like, everything that comes out of my mouth is fucking scary. But like, whereas like, yeah, human, you just said something and it just bothered me. I just started smiling. I might look like a crazy person, just like, why is he smiling right now? But I was smiling because what you said was like, yo, the human body wasn't made to be sick. We fell from grace. We fell from that. We fell from grace, and now we're able to be sick. Mm-hmm. And it's like, hey, it makes sense. Again, it's just everything can make sense. Don't tell, like, everything making sense, all right? Sooner or later, you're going to start, hey, burn that Bible because it makes too much damn sense. We don't want you to know the truth. I'm like, yo, it makes too much sense. It's all right there. But, yeah, yo, it's, I don't want to talk so much because everything I say come out of my mouth is scary.
Nah, right. No. And anyone that would get scared by anything you're saying has, like, a resolution that needs to be found within themselves, you know?
Could be real.
Most emotions, too. Any other anger or anything like that is just a projection of the within, you know? So...
TikTok pulled us down because they were like, oh, yeah, you can't talk about what you're talking about. They don't...
Social media is its own beast, man.
It's its own... Something is like, yo, but why? There's always a reason why. What you can't talk about is but is the ones that you can't talk about usually are the ones that's like, who's the controller or the enemy? Because it's like, if you say you're in a land where you have freedom, right? Freedom of speech. But as soon as you say something, oh no, but that's not free. You can't talk about that. Yeah. Well, why? Nope. No, shut up. Here for you. Oh, bless your heart. Like, nope. Shut up. Click out. Like, don't talk about that. But hey, it is. It is what it is.
Yeah. But with that too, another thing that I would recommend, through my own personal experience of what I'm going through right now, because, you know, it's like I'm in that sort of like recovery mode, you know, and funnily enough, a lot of spiritualism and religion and stuff like that gets to get tied into like recovery programs and stuff. The beauty of it, though, is, like, you know, it's not, like, praying necessarily to God, and a lot of people will turn away from it because it's, like, you know, like, people that may be Satanists or atheists or whatever like that, you know, and it's like, that's not for me, I can't do the religion, but it's like a God of your choosing, you know, like, you make your own God, your own higher power, however you want to see it, and that's, like, the beauty of that. But, yeah, the methodology is, like, just for today. Is a huge thing. Just living for today, you know? Just living for the next decision you need to make. Because when you look at, like, social media, you look at these people that have got, like, the big houses, lots of cars, you know, they're doing all these things, and then there comes, like, that self-comparison, like, you know, that's where it comes to that, like, I'm a piece of shit, because it's like, why don't I have these things, you know, this is what I want to be, why am I not there yet, and stuff, and you get focused on that end goal, and forget to care about the journey, you know? The journey is life.
The journey is everything. The journey is what's fun. Usually,
100%.
usually like say, even like, I don't even want to say like a movie, but it's like like a road trip, you know, like you at first you're like the anticipation of the road trip is like you're not really that fond of doing the trip. But then you see like, yo, the journey is where you had the most memories, the most fun usually. Like even though you had your ups and downs, you're able to learn. And then you got to your goal. The analogy was like a famous person, right? They had like I just saw Sidemen, and they were talking about, you know, these YouTubers like, are you still as ambitious as you were now that you've made it? And they all said no, because they already made it to their goal, and like now they're content, you know. So it's like, yeah, the journey is where it's fucking at.
Hell yeah, man.
The journey is where it's fucking at.
I'm learning more and more that I hope I never am content in life, you know? That's a scary place to be, bro.
Yeah. It's crazy because there's so much in life to live for, but again, like say depression, I would say, yo, we have a sickness going on right now where there's a lot of mentally, they're mentally captivated, absolutely. Mentally captivated by social media and like wants and stuff, what you see on TikTok and Instagram, the fancy cars, the big houses. People are really mentally captivated by those wants, and their aspirations are for those things. And it's not a bad thing to have goals and ambitions, but it's about what and for why.
Yeah.
And it's funny because again, I didn't want to say no scary shit, but it's like I'll just make it quick and simple. It's like that envious, jealousy, gluttony, greed. You know what those are?
Oh yeah.
The 7 deadly sins.
Yes, sir.
You know, so like it's funny how like social media and, you know, living on Earth in this third dimensional world, they advertise that as the American dream or the dream. You want the big fancy houses, you want the cars, you want the clothes, but you don't understand that getting to that destination, the journey that it takes to get to that destination, as I said, there's a lot of ups and downs, and a lot of people fall flat on their face with nothing going after those big ambitious goals. If you know, so like that will be the key for depression, where they're trying so hard and they can't get it, trying so hard and the YouTube algorithm goes against them. You know, like their video got demonetized, now they can't make any money off of it, and like the fight and the struggle, and then you go through all of these emotions, and it hits you. What's the word? Because it's one of the biggest emotions as a YouTuber you feel. It's the am I doing enough? Is this worth it? You know, like I don't think it's worth it. And then you feel like you're drowning, you know, and it's like you damn, I can't like figure out the word. But you succumb to the pressure.
Yeah.
You succumb to the pressure. And it's very sad because the pressure is what you choose. You chose that pressure. You chose to want that big house, that fancy car, that lavish lifestyle.
But what did you give away to get it, you know? I think that's definitely part of the pressure as well. So,
because remember that fight.
Like what we were focusing on just before with like Nick Avocado. You know, he's got all the things that you want. You know, like he's living that lavish lifestyle. Yeah. He's got the cars, he's got the places, he's got the money and stuff like that.
But he's in a freaking go-kart.
Yeah.
He can't walk on his own.
Yeah, but well, you know, and you can see it in his eyes even. Like when you watch his old videos to his videos now, like he's definitely sold a lot of stuff inside of himself, and that's you know, that's the big killer. And I think that's also part of like what brings that to the light is the fact that it's like when you're walking in that fashion, you know, and like giving up these personal things, you know. Now it's like you need your voice to be heard, or else why did you do it, you know? Like you need all of these external factors to try and fill what's that now empty inside of you. Where it's like when you walk in the path of light, you know, and you succumb or surrender yourself to like the Lord's will, and you start living in that fashion, you know, you'll find that there's like a lot more peace and serenity, but there's also a lot more like humility, you know. So you're not like necessarily needing to put yourself out there for anyone's like justification or anything like that, because you know you're secure in yourself, and so
humble pretty much.
Exactly. And so I think that it's not even like a, you know, that's why, because it's like you know, the squeaky wheel's the one that gets the oil, you know? Everybody's gonna look at where most of the noise is coming from, and then all of a sudden it's like that's what everything is, you know? Because you don't look at what's quiet.
Bruh. Yo, stop making so much... We rolling, bro, because, yo, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. Who makes the loudest noise is always heard. And it's like... I mean, I'm just going to say it because I'm already going to be probably... I'm going to point myself out as an asshole because I'm an asshole. I'm a good guy, but I'm an asshole, okay? I'm going to point it out. Men want titties too. Men want titties too. I'm a man and I can have a baby. I could birth a baby. If you... Hey, you at home. I can have a child if I wanted to. And if you're a bigot if you say I can't. Right? That's what we're going through right now. Yeah. Just accept it. Accept it. Bro. I'm not gonna be scary. I'm not gonna say anything. We're gonna move that to the next show. Fuck that shit. I wanna know what's going on with you though.
Okay, so what's going on with me, man, is putting it out there, I have been coming to terms with a lot of myself. I suffer with the affliction of, you know, addiction and stuff like that. Been working a lot on myself, you know, like those coping skills and stuff like that. Never learnt that sort of shit. I just kind of like learned to get off my face, and, you know, through watching movies and stuff like that, you kind of learn how to perceive as a functioning human being.
Yeah.
So, you know, like I've helped a lot of people and done all of that, and, you know, it brings me a lot of joy in my life. But I'm learning how to, like, help myself, you know, and, like, working at that. So, actually, here's a good one for you.
What's
we'll
up?
Jump straight into it. What do you think the opposite of addiction is?
The opposite of addiction. Sorry. So, what is the opposite of addiction? Opposite of addiction. Okay. So, let me see. To work this out. Actually, let me just use this. To work this out, addiction, to work out what's the opposite of it, what first is addiction? Addiction, I would think, is more of a, could be a habit, like habitual. So it's a habit, most likely is a bad habit, maybe like a coping mechanism. Addiction would be... like you have to do something. Like is more or less like it got from a point of a want to doing something to a need or a necessity, or you feel like you need to. So like it's more feelings. It's feelings based, and also I know that with addiction there's points of time where you can literally get sick if you have to wean off of some things, right?
Very true.
So, and that's mostly probably because of your body's getting used to a poison. And so, so addiction is it's kind of like you're physically chained to a poison or something. Like you're physically chained to a demon, almost. The demon of addiction, because it's like a succubus. It is causing damage, period. It's causing damage to your family. It's causing damage to you. So, like, that is what addiction, in my mind state, would roll out to it. So, what is the opposite of that? Right? The opposite of not being chained to a poison or an affliction, it would be you know, be like so instead of being addicted to alcoholism, right? You would more like be high on life or something. So you go without it. So the opposite of addiction is being strong in your sober mind state mostly. I don't know if that's a good definition, but the opposite, like, it would
There's
be
no
even
wrong answers here, man. So
yeah.
this is like I'm curious to see this process working out right now.
Like
Because I like where you're going with it.
I think if addiction is like, even if I boil it down to addiction is being chained or having like a parasite, because the parasite feeds off of you to live, and then said there could be a point of time where, like, there's different parasites where, like, if they died, you died.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's where it will be the weaning off of it. Like, you have to slowly kill that parasite until little and little until there's nothing, and then completely murder it. So, I would think addiction would be more like a demon on you, and the opposite of addiction is the saving of God. Because now let me just mold that out into something outside of just like strict Christianity religion. It would be those meditations, those same practices to, say, medicate a disease. But I don't. But personally now, so like that would be it. That would be the period. The opposite of addiction would be like those same meditational practices, those same AA meetings, those same using something else. I remember for me quitting cigarettes. Mm-hmm. Even though I smoked more weed, like I replaced cigarettes with like cheaper weed. Like kind of like the real seedy weed, and then I saved the good shit for the weekends.
Hell yeah.
So like
substitution is definitely a thing.
Substitution is a thing, but at the same time it probably still feeds it in a way, but people use gum and shit like that for cigarettes and stuff like that. But yeah, now that aside, put that period on it, when in all actuality, again, the word is dis-ease, and the only thing that puts humans at dis-ease is an afflictor. Usually, if that human or a spirit is always an afflictor. Like it is never there's no such thing as a coincidence. Sadly, there's no such thing as a coincidence. Maybe you guys might think, oh, he's bullshit. There's no such thing as a coincidence. There's always a afflictor, or what's the opposite of a afflictor? Someone who's just, blessing you up, There's someone who's doing harm to you and someone doing good to you.
Yeah.
So with addiction is that person let a demon in. You let the bad guy in. How about that? You let the demon of alcohol in. You let the demon of cigarettes in, or the demon of pornography in, right? And it fucks up your mind. Which it all, alcohol, tobacco, porn, it all fucks up your mind. Mm-hmm. So now your mind's sick. Your mind is sick, right? So now you have to heal your mind. You have to medicate your mind with the proper medication that it needs. And where I'll go, my I guess biasness is the proper medication. It will always be Yahweh. Because there's nothing that he can't do. He can pick your ass out of hell. Mm-hmm. There's nothing that he can't do. But now, if you don't believe in Yahweh, I really have nothing to say. You can go about your human trials. All you want to do, you go to the therapist. You can talk to whoever you want to talk to. I would suggest talk to your friends other than a therapist if you have friends. But, that's the best key. Best key against addiction. I suffer my own addictions in my past. I mean, like, I was addicted to cigarettes. Not really, though. I was addicted to porn, but not really, though, I guess. It's like those those things are like emotionally on my mind where it's like I don't want to have nothing to do with it. Like I'm one of those people I wish to God I've never seen porn in my life because that shit it fucks with your mind.
To this day, to this day,
And I wonder if you
to this day.
It ruined it. No, it didn't ruin sex, but it's just like it fucked with sex. It made it
less sacred.
Less sacred. It bastardized it. You know, it like I'm not saying the right word, but bastardized is close. Like it made it gross. Like you took something that was like, you know, known to be procreation. It is procreation. Period. It's not like you should go around and just fuck 300 dudes. These dudes could just fuck every girl in the block. No, it's not. It's like sex should be beautiful. You know, you should think rose petals and shit and bow chicka bow wow. You know, having a good time with your girl. Now you're just thinking back shots and fucking trains and fucking slobbing on glizzies and shit. Like it's so weird. It should be something nice. It should be like Luther Vandross. Fucking yeah, you know, come through with the champagne and the roses. Fucking, it's so gross now. Now you play Chris Brown. You know what I mean? No, it's so fucked. I don't know. But the addiction thing is, I don't think that I'm too well versed because I don't feel like I never tried nothing crazy. I don't think I tried too much of addictive substances outside of maybe alcohol and tobacco. Yes, I'm not real well versed at all. I don't think I can even be able, because like people could be screaming at me right now, like, oh dude, you have no idea how addiction feels, you have no idea how depression feels. I'm not well versed. I've never been like clinically depressed. I don't think I've ever been like actually addicted to something.
No, your breakdown was pretty solid, I think, and anyone that suffered from the disease of addiction,
It is a disease.
I don't think would chastise what you were trying to put out there.
Okay.
It was a well thought out procedure. And so, my take on the opposite of addiction, which might summarize what you were trying to go for, really into one word, I found its connection.
What do you mean by that?
So, you can be addicted to absolutely anything, you know what I mean? Outside of substances and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know? You could be addicted to fame, you can be addicted to sleep, you can be addicted to video games, you can be addicted to, you know, coffee, alcohol, all sorts of like substance-based addictions and stuff like that. You know? So like a lot of people think like abstinence, you know, and all of that. But then you look at it and you have the people that can go out and drink, you know, and they can maintain a drink and they, you know, are good with it and they don't ever drink to excess and they don't let it be like make their lives unmanageable.
Yeah.
You know, you have people that work in the porn industry that are not unhealthy people, you know, and practice healthy lifestyles.
Hopefully, I don't know, but you're probably right.
No, there are people like that. Not everyone is like...
It's hard for me to grasp.
But the one thing that I've found with anyone that does anything to like excess like that, you're running, you know? You're doing it because you're trying to escape the feelings. You're trying to escape what's happening in your life. You're chasing something that you don't have that you feel that you should or something, you know? So
or a feeling. Chasing the feeling. Chasing the dragon.
Exactly.
Chasing the
So
dragon.
it's always like running, you know what I mean? So when it comes to God, being able to connect with God and accept God into your life, to be able to connect with self, you know, and be happy and accepting of who you are and stuff like that. that's the point where it's like, your addiction is not an addiction now. That's like how somebody could play video games every day, you know?
Yeah.
They don't socialize and do stuff or anything like that because they're so caught up in this virtual world, and it's way better than real life.
For
you know?
them.
They'd rather live in the game than live in the real world sort of stuff.
They're running away from their life.
They disconnect from their life to be in this game.
Yeah.
But then on the same hand, you've got another dude that's playing maybe even more video games than this kid. But
Yeah.
he's using that video game to connect to the world, making it like his living and stuff like that.
Making a branch of himself.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
What's the name? It's like virtual reality. It's like virtual reality versus the regular video game on screen console, you know. It's like you're enamored in it, but you're not in it. You're not like intertwined in it, you know. The VR set, like there's an anime called Sword Art Online.
Yep.
Exactly.
Good anime.
Good anime. It is. It got kind of weird after a couple of seasons, but it's still a good anime.
Second season I didn't like as much as the first, and
When you turn him into a girl,
was weird.
You turn him into a girl in the third one or something, and then they
I
turn.
don't know what happened in the third. I never seen the third season.
You turn him into a girl, and then he was a fairy. Like, like, what did they do to the guy?
I just know that it went from like Sword Art Online to everybody using guns as well.
Gunjio, yeah, it was alright. Like, it was the first step to the let's say the MCU, how they turn every guy into a girl. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like the first steps of that happened like years ago in Japan. It was like, all right, we're just gonna turn Kikyo and I don't even remember his name. Kirito. Yeah, his name is Kirito. We're gonna turn Kirito into a girl. Now it's some hot chick. I'm like, yo, what the fuck is so weird? And he still has a dude's voice. I'm like, all right, cut the shit out. Like, this is weird. All right. He's like, but it's still Kirito. But like, I don't know. Shit is weird. shit is fucking weird. But the addiction, being addicted to things I think is definitely a curse. It's a virus. It's a disease. It's something that's you open yourself up to it though. It's like that's exactly what it. Because at the end of the day, it's free will, right? Mm-hmm. And like I just go through a lot of thinking because I've been through this part where I know everybody be blaming God for stuff. Went throughout high school. I just remember this thing. It just plays in my ear. Like, oh man, God, such this and that, God, this and that. And I was always like, yo, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, God had nothing to do with that shit. But it's mostly what you open yourself up to. God didn't put porn on your TV and tell you to watch it, nor did he tell you to play 16 hours of video games every day. You know? So it's like you open up yourself to that shit when you just go on along your road. And if your road comes to the point where you're addicted, then you got to figure out that disease. You got to figure out the solution and solve your problem.
Yeah. Sometimes it's hard too, you know, because it's like the same people that would complain about God, I guarantee would never have surrendered themselves to God for will, you know? Because everybody has this expectation that they can enforce their will on their life, and that God is supposed to fit their will. But that's not like how it works.
It's not how it works at all.
By being able to surrender and let go of that ego, and then accept things for what they are, and then work on what you can work on, you know, because obviously it takes work, but you know, to allow an outside higher power to do the work that it is to like help you with those character defects, you know? It's like that was a big thing for me, man, because I've like been in this like the cycle of addiction, you know. I've had periods of abstinence, you know, where it's like I've had my own willpower to not drink and all of those things, but, you know, with that also I've had like these expectations as well, like, you know, like I'm doing the right thing, why aren't things this way and stuff, as opposed to like completely surrendering and being like, you know, I just need to accept today as
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
Focus on making the next right decision as I see it, you know, and then allow things to play out how they're going to play out and have that faith and stuff.
Yo, okay. Which is crazy. What's crazy is because it's just I was reading my Bible the other day, right? And I think it was the passage of Job. So it's just the humanistic approach. It pisses me off because it's so prideful. Mm-hmm. And prideful again is one of those 7 deadly sins. When you have a there's a lot of problems that we as humans can solve, but then there's problems that we cannot. If you're talking about like the power of God versus the power of humans, the things that we can do, God can do, but we can't do the things that God can. God can make lightning strike the earth. Can you do that? No. So you're not all powerful, right? That's where that surrender comes. Because it's like, now when I read the passage of Job, it was like he had that same problem where, I don't want to confuse it, because I confused it last time. Jacob, the one I was talking about last time, the big-headed black dude. Mm-hmm. Now, I said that he was his story was in the Bible. That wasn't true. When I put that there, Jacob is somebody completely different. But Jacob in the Bible, he was wrestling with God, and he wrestled with God because he didn't. It was the same pridefulness where it was like he didn't want to surrender to God's power. So like, I'm just bringing this up because it's also pretty cool because it gets sci-fi, and so I always try to tell people like, yo, it might sound so crazy and shit, but like the Bible is one of the coolest books ever. It's sci-fi as shit. It tells you the past and it tells you the future. The Bible means basic information before leaving Earth. That's what the Bible means. It's an anagram.
That is an interesting, and I've never heard that. So
the thing is, right, when Jake was fighting God, right, he was like, yo, so like, when like so the guy, right, he finally, like, God faced him, and he was like, oh shit. And he like, his whole, all his pride and ego shit, like, he said he was boastful and prideful and shit, right? When he saw God, he was like, oh shit. And he got in check and he was like, oh, bet. I'm about to shut up. Because he had a lot to say. He had a lot to say, right? And God knew everything that he wanted to say. So God was like, yo, speak with your chest. He's like, I'm just using layman's term. God was like, yo, speak with your chest, nigga. You got something to say? Say it. Holmes was like, yo, nah, I know that I'm going to say something stupid, so I'm only going to talk twice. This is the first time I'm talking. And now next time I talk is going to be the last time I talk. And he shut his fucking mouth, right? And God was like, yo, look, the range of the mountains is his pasture and searches after evergreen things. Will the unicorn be willing to serve thee or abide by the crib? Canst thou bind the unicorns with his band in the furrow? Or will he harrow valleys of thee? Will thou trust him because of the strength of the great? And he goes on to say, like, oh, can you tame the people up in the Pleiades? So like, he just names off all unhuman shit like you cannot do as a human. Can you go up to Pleiades and tell these people to get together? Can you tame the unicorns? Right? And he's like, oh, nah, I can't do anything like that. So then he's like, yo, shut your mouth. Right? So, but at the end of the story, like, at the end of this story, right, he was like, yo, he said wise words back to God, and he was like, yo, you're right. I can't do any of that. I'm vile. I'm vile. I'm a piece of shit. I'm sorry. I'm a piece of shit, and I completely surrender to you. And then the people who God put in service, right, they didn't do what Job just did, where he completely surrendered to him. So God put these, Job is over here in Iraq, and say he put 2 people in command in America, right? Mm-hmm. And then Job said this junk, he was like, yo, I'm sorry, I'm a piece of shit, I'm vile, I completely surrender to you. God was like, oh shit, you just said something that the people who I put over in command in America never said. Bet, give me 1 second. God went over to America. Hey, you serve this dude now. I want you to give him 80 oxes. I want you to give him such and such amounts of rice or some shit. And you serve him. And I want you to deliver that shit over to him. And he's going to pray for you. And then these guys went over there like, all right, well, we serve God. I'm going to go over this dude in Iraq. I'm going to give him my oxes. And then the dude prayed for them. I got to read the finishing chapter, but it's like, is that pride and humility shit where it's like when you see somebody who's more powerful than you, or who is all powerful, he can shoot lightning down on the earth. You can't do that. But your humanist approaches, I can do anything. I'm a god. I can like, and that's where you get to people like Bill Gates, where they want to genetics, and they want to fuck you up. They want to put vaccines in your ass to change your DNA because they want to play God. They want to put shit up in the sky and cloud off the sun because they want to play God. It pisses me the fuck off. But it's that humanist shit. That humanist shit, bro, is like is a weapon from the devil. Because again, the devil is smarter. Alright? The devil is a smart nigga. And he's working against people. And he's working against God. And he's using people. Yo. I ain't want to get scared, but I'm just gonna fucking do it. So he's used like, so that the humanist approach is not even Satanists, all right? Let's just go humanists and atheists, right? Agnostic. The first thing they do is confuse you to think that, oh, God ain't real. Humanists, you don't think God's real. Or atheists, maybe you believe in a higher power, but you don't know who it is. I mean, that's agnostic, right?
It's agnostic, yeah.
Yeah, an atheist, you don't believe in God, right? That's also humanist.
Yeah.
So, like, those three, they completely disbar God. They don't give a fuck.
Well, I would not say that agnostic doesn't give a fuck. Because I define as agnostic.
Alright. That's good.
And to me, agnostic is somebody that believes that there is God or higher power, but doesn't give faith to like any set definition that exists here on Earth, you know?
Yeah. You want to know something? I'm just gonna speak as a friend, cause you're my boy. The only I would just say where, as a friend, I would feel very uncomfortable, cause I'll try to say as much as I could, but I know there will be nothing that I can say without you seeing it for yourself to come to it. But for like, with the, I can't even say even Christian, it need to be like, you know, the Church of Yahweh. That's some real shit. Like, you can't say Jesus because Jesus is not his name is Yeshua. But by the book, you have to know him, right? Because it's like, say if he is the man who shoots lightning down at the ground, if he is the man who created the entire universe, Venus and all, when it, like, by the book it says, yo, you have to know my name, you have to know me, like, you actually like, and it's different because like the only way to experience is like it's paranormal. It's like all right, so say you go and ghost hunting, right? You go and ghost hunting for the first time, you never experienced ghosts, ever. I can go ghost hunting for the first time, never experience ghosts, and it won't be so shocking, you know? But for someone who never experienced, like, the Holy Ghost, you know, church spirit shit, you'll be scared. You'll get scared. It's kind of like, just like how the devil is an angel. He can come up to you and he can look like a god. And you could be like, oh shit, that's God. Mm-hmm. It's not. But you'll think it is because it looks like he's all powerful and shit. But you have to know the true God. You have to know the true Yahweh and Yeshua. Because like, it's like, it feels like the feeling is so detrimental. It's more like, I'm pleading for you to just, know him so you can be safe or be safe. You know, but it's out of my hands because I can't physically show you what I've seen.
Yeah.
And it just sucks.
With what you were saying, though, it actually made me think of it. It's like a snippet from a show or a movie. I'm not sure on the show or the movie. I just like randomly saw it on the reels. But there was like he was saying, it's like, you know, there's these people saying, you know, like this lady and she's like 80 years old, has dementia, all these problems going on with her family, you know, and she devoted her self to church and community, super nice lady, and suffers all these trials and tribulations. Whereas this guy himself, you know, self-admittedly is a piece of shit, you know, underhand dealings and things like that, but has no health concerns, you know, and has no worries around his family or anything like that. Financially, he's well off and all of this, you know, and it's like, you know, to him, his life is at ease.
Yeah.
But then she's all like, well, you know, like self-admittedly, you know, like claiming to be a piece of shit and selling your soul sort of stuff. And so her take on it is that the way that the devil works is the devil would rather you never have to seek God, you know? So the devil makes comfortability and makes that for you so that it's like everything seems great so that you don't ever search for that higher power. And then when it comes to that time, you know, it's like being in a cell, you know, and the door's wide open for your whole life, you know, and at any point you could walk out of that cell and then go explore or whatever. But he will do everything he can to make that cell comfortable so that you never walk out that door. So that when the time is right, that cell door will slam shut and lock, and then now you're trapped.
Exactly. That's you couldn't. I'm eating pistachios right now just listening because that's a great story.
It was a very, very interesting take on it and a beautiful answer to where people are like, you know, like how can there be a God if these terrible things happen to people that follow him and stuff? But it's like without trial and tribulation, you never find your own strength. You never find the strength of higher power and stuff like that.
Bro,
I think that I fought it for a long time, man, you know, because it's like my dad is atheist. My mum was a Jehovah's Witness, and then she left that. My grandma disowned my family when, you know, like, that all went down and stuff. So, for me, it was like, I don't know, I was, like, not necessarily salty with religion in myself, but that saltiness of religion was put onto me.
From your grandma?
Well, not just from my grandma, but from, like, my
of your
parents as well, you know?
Yeah.
Because they became salty and transferred that to me as a child. So.
Yeah.
It wasn't until later in life that I sort of like started looking into religion, and I haven't really studied too much of like westernized religion. I'm not gonna lie, you know, like when I started looking into religion, I found it through spirituality, and so things like Shintoism, Buddhism, and stuff like that made a lot more sense to me than like Christianity and stuff like that. But I've been to like a Coptic church before and went and did that, you know, and I've seen a bit of Christianity, Catholicism, Roman Catholicism, Judaism and stuff, and you know, the faith is an absolutely beautiful thing. I would never turn anyone away from faith and finding a higher power. No,
you're absolutely right. Yeah, faith is a beautiful thing. I'm finding out now that there's always gets mucky sometimes, but there's where's the struggle with the certain different religions. There are work-based faiths, and there's no work-based faith, and there's only one no work-based faith, and that's Christianity. All the other religions you have to work, and that's kind of where the difference is because, say like the Christian religion, for what it should be, right, is should all loving. So like all of the craziness where like, oh, you know, God says that gay people are going to hell, so no, it's not. That's all man's bullshit, right? So like that's not of the Christian religion. On top of that, it's not a work-based faith where like you have to whip yourself 20 times every day in the back to go to heaven. You know, it's not a work-based faith. All these other faiths are work-based. Like you have to do something to achieve heaven. Where in the Bible it already says Yeshua already died for you. Like your sins were taken on to him. All you have to do is acknowledge him. That's all you have to do. Like you said, the doors is wide open for you right there. The book just says, acknowledge me. Please just acknowledge me. And it's so sad. It's so sad because I felt this shit the other day. It's like, yo, if you were to save someone's life, right? Now, yeah, if you're supposed to save someone's life, and you know the humble approach is you save somebody's life and you just walk on like a casual hero. Who is that guy? I didn't see his face. I wasn't able to thank him. Well, Jesus is the one who saved everyone's life, and he's just asking for a thank you and acknowledgement. Mm-hmm. That's all. You just acknowledge him. It's all you have to do to be saved from the snare trap of those doors closing. If you don't say, Jesus, I know you, thank you. All right, and like that is your Willy Wonka's card to the chocolate factory, you know. And there's a time limit. You don't know when that time limit is coming because I don't know when the rapture is about to happen. I don't know when the apocalypse is going to start. I don't know when the Antichrist is going to actually come. Yeah. But if said all to happen within the next hundreds of years or thousands of years, or maybe it's 30 years from now. By the way it's looking, this shit might fucking happen next week. but why did I even laugh? But the thing is like that's legit. All this is just like, yo, please just acknowledge that I did this, and the fact that there's historical documents that you can read that is there that shows he was alive and he paid taxes. Those are the same things as getting shut off day by day. The Bible is getting corrected with a new version every couple of fucking days or years or something. So like they're slowly erasing the true words. They're slowly erasing your history. You're like where like the important shit that you need to know. They're slowly erasing it before it's, hey, throw the Bible in the fire. Doors close. Now no one can freaking understand the basic information before leaving Earth. Just give him some acknowledgement. What does he ask? Oh, don't fuck no girl outside of wedlock. Right? He asks you, don't kill, don't lie, don't steal. All right? Don't take my name in vain. All right? Don't be an asshole. All right? It's like legit. The Ten Commandments is so freaking simple. Yeah. The original, you know what? So like the devil's plan is he doesn't exist. But the devil's also say he doesn't exist, I don't exist either. You don't need to know I exist. Yeah. Because again, like you said, it doesn't matter. He's doing anything that he can just for you to not know him. So that at a certain time come the door closed. He doesn't give a fuck if you believe in him or not. The devil? All good to him, because if you don't believe in the devil, you won't believe in God, because they're one and the same. Mm-hmm. They come from the same book. Right? So if you don't believe in the devil, then fine. So it's like, that's kind of why it's like, all right, so with the guy who scares you the most, the little red horn guy, you talk about the red horn guy, guess what? He's the villain of the story. He's the one you need to pray against. Who do you pray to defend yourself from him? The other guy. The good guy, Yahweh. So it's like, all right, bet. One and the same. So if I could scare, I guess I understand my position. Let me scare people somewhat. Scare you a little bit with some truth. Yo, you talking a whole bunch of shit, just making it more clear. Like, yo, the world is very weird. It's a game, bro.
It's definitely a game.
It's a game, ain't it? And it's about how you play.
Yeah. I think that people caught in a vibe right now, you know, with social media and stuff like that. Definitely one thing that's been lost in this world of recent is patience for a lot of people, you know, that quick satisfaction and stuff like that. That definitely plays so? Into the devil's hands, quick satisfaction.
Yeah. I mean, what... I mean, come on now. You can list them up. Pornography is quick satisfaction right now. Yeah. Dopamine hit.
But even like when you look at it like you know, like how many ads do you see where it's like, you know, hey, do you want to start a business that's going to turn you a good income, and all you need to do is put in 20 minutes a week, you know, and you could be making $10,000 a week and all of that, and you don't have to work, and you'll get all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make it seem so good. Right.
That's the lifestyle that it's at, I think, at the moment, is like, you know. And there are some people that like utilize that in a healthy fashion, you know, because they live their lives in a way where it's
with
like
balance.
They open and they connect to the world in their own lives, and they're able to get like the turnaround where people want to see what they're doing and stuff like that. Like when you look at people like Jason Salvia and stuff like that.
Jason Salvia.
I think that's how his name is Salvia. But he just goes out and, you know, like he'll go for a bike ride on the waterfront and talk about the beauty of the world, and, you know, like how being present in the moment, you know, and being secure of oneself can be hard, you know, but, you know, like, and he relates with people, and like, you know, that's his life. He's turned that into his life. He likes to do nice things. Yeah. And he likes to give encouraging words and say, he just lives his life the way that he wants to live it. Yeah. And they put a camera on him, and he's like one of those people. And then the same token, you've got those people that see that, but that's not who they are, you know? And so then they're trying to embody something that's outside of themselves. Yeah. And they're on the camera one way, off the camera another way. Mm-hmm. And that's where it becomes like work, you know? Yep. And so, you know, like they say, if you love what you do, you won't work a day in your life, you know, because it's like you're doing something that even if you weren't getting paid or assigned to do it, you'd probably be doing it anyway. You still do it. So. Yeah. And the funny thing, I want to tie it up because it is your main topic today. The funny thing that you said, Jason Salvia, slightly reminded me of something I did want to say about drugs. Yeah. Or depression, and then as outside of addiction either too. Outside of the realms of addiction is just where you're gradually using a substance, right? Mm-hmm. Mushrooms, salvia, DMT, shit like that. Those things were a spiritual awakening for me, especially in my points where I did have depression. There was a point of time where I faced I was homesick, and shrooms. That was like one of the first times that I took shrooms, and like it made me even more sad, but it made me face it. Because like I wasn't understanding. Like I was sitting there in the car, and I'm on mushrooms, and I should be all happy and joyful. I was happy and joyful, and then it got to a point of a conversation where I was left out, and it was like for an hour or two. It's my two friends that I was with, they lived in the town where I just moved to. Yep. So they were like, oh, bro, you remember when we did this? Oh, you remember when I did that? You remember when we did this? You remember when we did that? Ha ha. Remember when we did this? And I'm on shrooms. And this is like for an hour and a half. And I'm just sitting in the back of the car just like hearing, do you remember when we did this? You remember when I did this? I'm like, I was never part of any of those memories. And then I started to feel homesick heavily. Like, yo, I want to go back to my peoples. I want to go back home. I want to go with my cousins. I want to go play some Halo. I want to play some video games with my cousins. I haven't seen them in a long time. I'm feeling mad homesick. But it was faced off as it was a sort of depression. But at the end of the day, though, I was able to define what it actually was. I defined that I was homesick. You know, if you weren't able to define what it would be, you would just be like, I'm sad and I don't know why I'm sad. Yep. Yeah. So like when I did the shrooms, it was like, oh, well, I understood I was homesick, so I just solved my problem. I went home. I got my energy back. I felt my energies with my cousins and everything. Felt the love. Like, oh, y'all still here. All right, let me just go back to my new home real quick. I can see y'all whenever. Yep. You know, so it was like, it was something that helped. So like that's why I've been seeing a lot of things where scientists are talking about how like mushrooms and hallucinogens can help out with depression and anxiety. Oh yeah, like I am a firm believer of microdosing.
Yes.
You know, like doing like you know, within reason. You know, it's not just like eating mushrooms every day and like being happier. It's like you taking a controlled amount, but not only taking that controlled amount, but doing the work that comes with it as well, you know. So, you know,
that spiritual mind work.
Yeah. being introspective and asking yourself those questions and stuff.
Yeah.
And then that's where I said, like, even when it comes to substances, you know, you can take these substances. There's people that drink, there's people that drug and do all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and they don't use it as a form of coping, running away, and disconnecting.
Or like
you
a
know?
false pride, like a wall of false pride and shit, ego.
Like, even as you said, when you took the mushrooms and stuff like that, you were able to connect with yourself, look in on yourself, and then logically work out what those feelings were and find your needs and stuff like that. So it wasn't like, you know, I'm depressed, I'm going to take these mushrooms because the mushrooms are going to make me feel better. It's like you took the mushrooms, were feeling depressed, and then utilized the mushrooms. Well, maybe not. Maybe you would have worked it out without the mushrooms. But either which way, you know, you didn't use them as a form of disconnecting.
Yeah.
It was just something that aided your connection to yourself.
Yes.
And
Yes.
That's the difference of mindset, you know? Like, there is, when you, like, look into it real deep, there is no good and there is no bad. It's really perception and your own, like, you know, moderation and doing what's right by you and staying connected to your true self or your higher power, you know?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of religion that's tied into recovery and stuff as well, but it's like, it's not a religious program, if that makes sense as well.
No.
So
It was a
that's-
spiritual program.
Yeah,
And
that's the beauty of it too. Is like whether you want to believe in Allah, Buddha, Yeshua, God, Kami, you know, any of those, it's fine. It still incorporates it, and it's the daily practice of being true to yourself and staying connected to yourself and whatever the higher power is that you choose to be and doing right by that.
I respect everything you said. I don't agree with everything you said. But I respect everything you said. Because I'm not trying to sit here and correct you on everything you fucking talking about. That's just the bullshit. You know, like, it's very confusing when you're talking about the gods and the god. It's like the deities. I don't know. And especially, I would say, if I'm talking humanist, I would have a biased mind state. I'll call it out as it is because I am set firm in what I believe. Mm-hmm. So technically, I would have a completely biased mind state. But yeah, I completely respect what you're saying. I don't want to.
When you say it too, you just like, you know, like I would list it off as gods. You know, when you say gods to God, but somebody that believes in those practices, that God is God. Mm-hmm. And then there's other gods, you know, and that the same perspective as what you're listing it off as.
Yep.
But if Christianity's all loving and
no, it is all loving,
inclusive, then it's like
it is all loving.
That definition can't be wrong. You know what I mean?
Sadly, I know what you mean, but sadly, no, that definition can't be wrong. Where the mind state, and that's why I would love this. Like, I'm not even well versed in it, but it's like technically is biased. Technically is biased as shit. Like, I'm not Muslim. I'm not, you know, I don't know who Kami is. I'm not Buddhist.
Kami would be Shintoism.
Buddhist is not Muhammad. Buddha. Mm-hmm. Like it's not even by biblical, because I don't even think they talk about them in the Bible. But my human knowledge would just tell me that these guys are deities, prophets. Because I think Muhammad lived, Buddha lived. So these are all prophets. And they did the same, maybe, I don't know if they did the same things Jesus did. No, Jesus also is defined humanly as a prophet. When Christian-wise, they call him as God. I don't know. It's fucking confusing. I'm not the person to fucking.
No, it's so good, man.
It sucks. I don't even want to be the person to fuck with it, because it's like, I'm not trying to cause division or nothing like that. Like, but it's
Kami's cool because Kami is God, but it's like the embodiment. Kami is in everything, you know. So
like DMT.
By that definition, like, you know, God exists in everything, and every living being, every like thing that you see around you has God within it. But God isn't like like you couldn't bring up an image of Kami, you know what I mean? Because there is no set image to what Kami looks like. Kami is just the embodiment of everything that exists. Which is like a very spiritual, you know, like when you think of spirits and we're all one frequency, you know, and like, you know, the same like base matter that makes me up, makes you up, makes everything around us up. And so in like a particle sense even, you know, like we are intertwined and connected. And when you look into like the meta sciences and stuff, that's actually been proven, you know, like they did a test where it was like they put a dog in a room that had like a, you know, to the dog every wall was mirrored so it could only see itself, but you could see into the room, around the room, and they walked around the room and then would stop and stare at the dog. And the dog would look exactly at the people staring at it. And then they would move over here and the dog would stare at the people staring at it. And there was like an actual metaphysical connection where the dog could sense. Even though it couldn't smell, it couldn't see, none of its physical senses would be triggered by it.
Well,
it was able to sense where the people were in the outer room.
Well, that can also be kind of simplified because dogs don't see like humans. They see completely different. Like, they see auras. So, like, because, like, I noticed this because even from having a dog, like, there will be, like, even when my dog was younger, he knows when I'm upset. I swear, I could sense it. If I'm mad at him, I sense, like, a red smoke just fuming off of me. And I know he can see it. So when I get, like, I don't have to say a word to him. And he looks at me and he's like, oh, shit. And he goes into his cage when he was younger. So I'm like, I already know dogs see different than humans, but the Kami, like I would think.
But even then, what you're speaking on is that, like, you know, and obviously you're in agreeance to it, so it's not like a new concept for you, but you exist outside of your own body. You know, there is energy and there is actual. You know, stuff that you put outside of your own physical, like, you know, like you can reach things beyond your arm's length, you know, in other ways.
Dogs can see your guardian angels.
Yeah.
Or the demons that you got. And that's why dogs will bark at random ass people, because they probably have a demon on them. It's just floating around them that they can't see.
I've always been a firm believer, like when I've had dogs, if you come into my house and my dog doesn't trust you, then you're probably not coming back to my house.
That's how it goes, bro. They don't.
Because I trust them, but they see what we can't.
They see what we can't. Same as cats. They speak. They speak without bark. Like, dogs don't bark to cats, and cats don't meow to dogs, but they still talk. Mm-hmm. So they talk in a different way. They see differently. That's just what we can't. So they're more in tune to some things that we can't see. So that's how I see it. It's like, no, the Kami, that seems more. I see the characteristics of like DMT, because DMT isn't everything. But I mean, I don't think God is DMT, you know. And like DMT is a substance you could take, and then you see another realm. I've taken DMT, and it was weird. It was pretty cool because I think you start to see like a dog.
Yeah.
So, like, what happened, right, when I took the DMT, and what I saw for me, it was like, what do you call it, a hologram, a holographic image of, and now, I don't think it's, like, really 3D, but it was, like, millions of pluses and minuses, right, and it would be in, like, a light bluish tone when it's positive, like, when they say, like, so, someone walks into the room, right, you hit DMT, and someone like, hey, Dylan. And when they say, hey, Dylan, you see like a poof of just their energy, just like a smoke, and it's all pluses, like little, like tiny pluses.
Yep.
Off of every word. Hey, like, it's like you see their breath, and it's all positive breath. Hey, Dylan. All positives, right? And then some asshole comes in, oh, you guys are fucking doing drugs. All you see is minus, and you see like the little red. So like, and you see, but the thing was, right, what's fucked up about DMT, you take it, right, and it starts off as like a low, high frequency whining, like, and it gets so fucking intense you feel your head is about to explode, and then you reach the peak, and then you open your eyes, and then you see the pluses and the minuses and shit like that. But like you see a different realm when some of these like hallucinogens. You see the different realms. You see realms that you're not supposed to see in this third dimension that we live in. But
it's interesting you say that, because when I took DMT, I also was able to see sound, and it was like, yeah, trip me out. But I didn't see like the pluses and the minuses per se, but I was able to see like sound physically flowing through the room. But I would do DMT again, you know, like it was very interesting. I was already pretty messed up when I took it too, so I think that it was like I didn't have the best connection with it, you know, because I was already off my face. I also would like to try, what is it, the ayahuasca. Yeah.
I know that one is pretty intense.
That one sounds like it's intense, but people have like straight up life-changing experiences on that, you know what I mean? And solve their demons and everything. Like, it's one of those things, if you suffer from a demon, then that's one thing that'll allow you to like physically face your demons, is what I've heard.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Ayahuasca is like a week getaway. Go into a hut and just freaking melt in the sauna, doing some fucking crazy mashed up herbs. It'll take like 12 herbs or some shit, mash them all together, some flowers and whatnot, make a tea. You drink it a couple of times and you lose your fucking shit.
Hell yeah.
And like animals just chew on that shit. Like, I think it was like the jaguar or something eats it. Or eats the ayahuasca leaf or some shit. Yeah.
There you go.
It was a jaguar. And I was like, yo.
Spiritually hiding feline right there.
Yeah, this fucking cat is just up in the top of the tree just dosed out of his mind. Oh shit, dude! I'll kill to be a jaguar.
Oh fuck yeah!
Fuck, and they black too.
Nah, if I could pick an animal, man, I'd like to be like, you know, a hawk or something.
A hawk?
Yeah, I think the ability of flight would be very freeing to just be able to just like take off, you know, and fly with the, you know, there's a lot of like, same as a fish, I guess, you know, like what better animal to learn how to go with the flow than like a bird or a fish, because like your whole life is based around working around currents and like paths of least resistance by accepting what's around you.
Dude, I think I gotta be an animal that got thumbs. Like a fucking raccoon or something. Or maybe a bear. A bear would be better. A bear doesn't need thumbs.
Not like a gorilla?
Nah. That's too racist. I don't even agree. Because bears could still get into shit. Like, they could still open up doors and shit for some reason. Like, I've seen a lot of videos of bears opening up fucking doors.
Especially if you're smarter than your average bear, right?
That's what they have.
Good old Yogi.
That saying makes a reason, bro. Bears, and they're scary. They fast too.
Hell yeah.
You don't want to see a bear up close. They're not so sweet, bro.
Nah, when it comes to creatures that are scary, bro, if you want to see something scary, baboons. Baboons are terrifying.
And hippos.
Terrifying.
Baboons, the red butt baboons. Jesus, God.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, they have huge fucking teeth, and they have thumbs.
And just like very, very gnarly.
Very aggressive. Yeah, very aggressive. Man, fucking, I don't want to have no nightmares about no baboons tonight.
Definitely.
Shit, fucking Rafiki gonna come at me. Bro, you already know it's been a blessing as always, my boy.
Hell yeah, man.
As always, dude, you take care of yourself.
Always, and you guys out there too. Stay safe in the real world.
For real, take care of yourself. Don't be making fun of me. I remember. I remember. Take care, y'all.
Peace.
Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution.